Then versus Now Dokkan Third Year Edition. In this video, we will be taking a look at some of the characters from the second to third year of the game, and just seeing, what these characters' modern day examples are, their modern day counterparts. And starting off, we'll just touch on what we did in the last episode. In the last episode, we went over the second year characters, and the second year characters ended with, of course, the Super Saiyan 4 Goku and the Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta from the second anniversary. And when these guys came out, these were the first Super Saiyan 4s in the game, so they just had so much hype, and they were definitely deserving of being the second anniversary units. Particularly the Super Saiyan 4 Goku, he really stood out. He wasn't as defensively oriented as the Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, but at the time, it wasn't as important. And he was definitely like my favorite unit in the game at the time. He was just so sick, and he was just such a boss, honestly. He could just go in and he would just, one super attack would just take bars off the enemy's HP, and it was really fun using that character. And their modern day counterpart has to be the seventh anniversary EZAs, particularly the Super Saiyan 4 Goku and the Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, who transform into the Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. This unit, when they got their EZA, I was stunned by the amount of power because they really worked well on the 10th anniversary teams, and it covered a lot of the weaknesses that some of the characters had. And they do such insane damage. They guard, they stack, damage reduction. They have so many abilities that just makes them a very valuable unit as a as an offensive unit or as a defensive unit. They're really good, especially in today's meta with things like the Festival of Battles. I mean, these guys are stacking. These guys are some of the MVPs in those events. So yeah, definitely, I think the Super Saiyan 4s are well represented right now. And moving on, yes, of course, the dude in the thumbnail, Super Gogeta. Now, in Super Gogeta, I believe came out for Golden Week of the second or the third year of Dokkan, and nowadays Gogeta has a lot of good representation. I mean, just last year we got the Tech Super Gogeta EZA, which was incredible. He was definitely one of the best units in the game because of that, from that EZA. And for this year, we just got, Gogeta got like EZAs in the 7th anniversary EZAs, as well as his 10th anniversary LR release, who is on the right. This guy is incredible. His active skill support is very lethal, and it can really just juice teams and juice setups to have like really insane numbers. And of course, he's really good in the Festival of Battles because he can stack attack and defense, and he can go in to the last phases and really just put up great numbers. I don't think he's as good as the Tech Vegito from the 10th anniversary, but this guy is seriously such a contender for like best unit in the game. He's really good. So I think Super Gogeta is very well represented right now in Dokkan, and I think that's deserving too because we needed a Super Gogeta, and thankfully we got one. And the next character is, yes, Janemba. Now, SCR Janemba was the opposing unit for the Int Gogeta previously in the Golden Week celebration of the third year of Dokkan, and I believe the modern day representation of Janemba is probably the super easy of Int Janemba that we got. This Int Janemba came out in the first anniversary of Dokkan. And he got his Super EZA during the 10th anniversary, and it led to him just being so powerful. I mean, he has like insane dodge numbers and insane attack stat numbers, and he can tank and he's guarding, and it's really fun to use this unit. I remember when he initially got his first easy A, several years ago. He was definitely like one of the strongest units in the game, and his super easy A, it just pairs up so well with something like the Int Buhan super easy A. And it just allows those two characters to really rock things. They're also two extreme int units, so they're pretty good in battlefield if you use mono teams. Um, and yes, that is that is the representation for STR Janemba. And you could also look at the physical Janemba, but because the Int Janemba is a little bit more new and he's a little bit more flashy, I'm just gonna put him here. But you could definitely put the physical LR Janemba as well, because he got his EZA for his LR EZA last year, and he was just as good as that Gogeta. And really one of the best villains in the game. So Janemba really has good representation right now. And the next unit is, of course, Super Saiyan 3 Angel Goku. This tech Super Saiyan 3 Angel Goku was always so cool when I saw him back in the day when he released. And I think his modern day counterpart has to be the, well, modern day Super Saiyan 3 Angel Goku. Um, For Angel Goku specifically, or for Super Saiyan 3 Goku, I guess, more broadly speaking, he's getting a lot of representation right now, thankfully. I mean, you can look at things like Daima, which might be indicative of things to come, and more Super Saiyan 3 representation. I mean, we just got, Super Saiyan 3 mini Vegeta Daima in game. And, for Super Saiyan 3 Goku, I mean, last year, well, I guess this would be New Year's, transitioning from 2023 to 2024. We got the Super Saiyan 3 Dragon Fist Goku, and then we got the Super Saiyan 3 AGL Angel Goku for Golden Week right here. In the 8th anniversary, we got Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta. And, there's a lot of Super Saiyan 3 Goku representation in the 10th anniversary LRs as well, because their super attack animations include Goku going Super Saiyan 3. So Super Saiyan 3 has a lot right now. And it's good to see that because, for the longest time, this was one of Goku's like most hyped forms because this was like the ultimate form for Goku that was, canon, I guess. Whatever that, means after Daima, I suppose. But Super Saiyan 3 Goku has a lot of good representation, and this AGL Angel Super Saiyan 3 Goku is a really good unit. He came out and he had like 90% damage reduction turn one, and he could put up like good offensive and like defensive performances depending on which slot you put him in. But it gave him a lot of defensive and viability and offensive viability as well. So it just allowed you to play with this character in a lot of different ways. And he was really good for some of the nasty Majin Buu Saga missions of last year. So he's pretty good, and I think Super Saiyan 3 Goku has a good representation in Dokkan right now. And the next character is Super Saiyan 3 Broly. Um, so yeah, I don't think we're gonna be getting a Super Saiyan 3 Broly Dokkan Fest again. I mean, he is like, I mean, just look at that SSR art. It is like the Super Saiyan 3 hair and that legendary Super Saiyan aura and hair color. It just looks so dope. And I remember when he came out in Raging Blast 2. Oh my goodness, that was one of the coolest things ever. Because Dragon Ball Heroes has like all the cool forms of like all the cool non-canon forms of Dragon Ball characters, but that's mainly, for the longest time, that was mainly something that was, only in Japan, and you can only see it on like YouTube videos, like of just clips, animated clips of Dragon Ball Heroes or whatever. But Super Saiyan 3 Broly was always a really cool character to me, and it was really really cool to see him finally come to Dokkan back in the day. Unfortunately, he was not that good. Um, he like lowered his defense, you know, basically to zero, basically. And even after his EZA, he was still lowering his defense, which is a really disappointing thing that they did. So the closest representation to Broly that we have nowadays probably is just all the Brolys that we have right now. Of course, there's no Super Saiyan 3 Broly that's come out anytime, recently, uh, or that I expect to come out anytime soon. But the Brolys we did get last year, I mean, wow. Last year was definitely the year of Broly. I mean, we got Broly for the 9th anniversary and then the worldwide celebration. We got tons of Brolys, tons of EZAs, Super EZA. You know, uh, I mean, you can just look at any of these units, even the units that are not included here. But I mean, just to start, there's Tech Broly who, has so much just usefulness, and he's so like defensively great for slot one. And then he can transform and be an offensive powerhouse while also still tanking slot one for a couple turns. He's really good. And then he has support and crit support, and you can just play a lot of different ways with him. And then if you want to talk about utility, there's no one who has more utility, in my opinion, than the Int Broly, the Int LR Broly, who, he has the domain, the revive, uh, the guarding, the damage reduction, the support. He just brings so much to the table that you got to respect the man's resume. And, he, for most of 2024, he was, yeah, for all of 2024, since his release, he was just dominant. So you got to respect him. And I think he was just like a really fun unit for all the Rolodex of options you have with him when you're playing him. He's, probably doesn't have the best aging design because it's dependent a lot on uncontrollable power, but we're getting a lot of uncontrollable power buffs. So for right now, he's pretty good. And of course, we got to look at, some of the more offensively oriented Brolys because Int Broly is more defensively oriented. But the more offensively oriented Broly's are things like the AGL Broly from the ninth anniversary, who, once he transforms into his domain, he can really put up crazy numbers and just fire off a billion attacks. And then, of course, Tech Broly, who, when he EZA'd, you could go, like, you have this unit who's been in your box for 4 years, and then suddenly he can do 120 million attack stat. It just makes it a really fun experience for everyone, I think, when you have, like, just these dominant EZAs. And there are Broly's that I'm not even mentioning. I mean, there's the physical LR Bio Broly from the Prime Battle event, who's a really, really capable free to play unit. There's the EZA Tech Bio Broly, who has 90% damage reduction, and he's pretty useful in some events as well. There's, Broly Chilai and Lemo, the EZA STR, Super EZA STR Broly. Broly got a lot of stuff last year, and Broly is well represented, I think. It would be still super dope if we did get like a Super Saiyan 3 Broly. Oh man, that would be so exciting. I really do hope they do that, but uh, you know, my hopes aren't that high. And next we have okay. Super Super 17. Nobody can beat him when he's Super 17, and that's something you can take as a fact. Trust me. AGL Super 17 was definitely one of the best aging units in the game. I mean, he had a lot of damage reduction that built up, and he, even when he got his EZA, he was like really capable. And historically, after ever since this AGL Super 17, he has not gotten the best representation. He had the Tech LR Super 17, but that was definitely not the best unit. I mean, he would get hit and he'd have like a high chance of getting one key, which is only a 50% chance, which was just a very strange decision in terms of like the design making process for that unit. But we did get in 2023, we got another Super 17. Specifically, it was a Hellfighter 17 and then an Android 17 GT that transformed into the SGR Super 17 that you are seeing on the right. Um, Super 17, he, even in 2023 when he got another unit, even then wasn't that good. When he transformed, he was like pretty good. They were able to build up some nice attack, and he has this nice key blast nullification. But a lot of the units in 2023 suffered from very poor design, very confusing decision making, and in the design process, I think. So Super 17 hasn't gotten the best representation. And that's just really bad, I think, because GT bosses really cannot catch a break with some of their units and how they're designed. So I think we really do need to buff GT bosses, and if that comes in the form of Super Baby 2 or another Omega Shenron, Sin, Nova, or another Super 17, it'll be welcome because these characters they really do need buffs. Um, and the next character is going to be yes, Physical Cooler. When Physical Cooler came out, I mean, he was one of the coolest characters. I mean, honestly, all these 120 percent leaders when they were coming out, they just had so much hype around them because they were all leading very distinctive leader skills. They all led their physical or mono teams, and this is during the era where they had 120% leader skills for super physical, super AGL, extreme tech, stuff like that. And when this guy came out, he was definitely one of the cooler units. No pun intended, because he could just fire off attacks, and it was just really fun playing with this guy. And when he got his EZA, it was really impressive because he could build up and get to like 310 million attack stats per turn, and that's always going to be exciting. And then the modern day representation for him probably has to be the STR cooler from the 2022 Worldwide Celebration. The STR cooler, when he on release, he must be like one of the most hype units, honestly, ever. I think it's like really deserving for Cooler to be get one of those representations, and I think it was really awesome that he was the Dokkan Fest LR. I think it was a really welcome addition to the game. So because he was the Dokkan Fest LR and Goku was the Carnival, which I liked more. And he was just such a baller unit, honestly. I mean, he just goes in, he just attacks like a billion times, and he is kind of like he could like fire off a bunch of normals, but you could get that turn, that very elusive turn of just all supers and a bunch of crits, which I think a lot of people liked. And his gameplay style, it was just so fun, just overwhelming the enemy with offensive capabilities. And his team at the time was incredible. The Wicked Bloodline team, the Transformation Boost, Terrifying Conqueror team. It was a really fun team back in the day. Of course, Cooler hasn't gotten much recently, but I think this guy is due up for an Easy A later this year because he came out in 2022, and so did the seventh anniversary LRs, which have already Easy A. So I think this guy could get an Easy A this year, and if he does, that's gonna be, oof, man, that's definitely gonna be one of the most hype things that Dokkan does, I think, for this year. And the next character is, yes, physical Gotenks. Now, Gotenks has a pretty good representation. I mean, last year he got the Tech Super Easy A Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, who was a really incredible unit. And, it was like, wow, the the power levels in this game are really going to go up. The power scaling or whatever. Um, Power creep. There we go. The power creep in this game is accelerating because that Tech Gotenks was really good. I mean, he had the damage reduction, the dodge. He was really sick. And then this Gotenks comes out for the Carnival celebration of last year, and he was, I mean, is so good. He was really good on release because he could just put up for free like 30 million attack stats, guaranteed crits, guaranteed additional supers. He rainbow orb changes. He has damage reduction. He can really tank. He's got counters. He brings so much to the table, and he really allows he allows to cover some of the weaknesses of any of the modern day teams from like maybe the 10th anniversary. He can cover the weaknesses. He can really just be like the cartilage for some of these teams because he can go into like any slot and be pretty viable, and he can really allow you to get the ball rolling and get your setup nice and straight. And this Gotenks is really good in my opinion. Um, so I think Gotenks right now does have good representation, and I'm glad that we're getting a lot of Super Saiyan 3 action. With Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, Super Saiyan 3 Goku, Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. I'm liking that we're getting a lot of Super Saiyan 3 stuff. I hope we get a Super Saiyan 3 Tech Broly again. That would be pretty sick, but we'll see. And the next character is, yes, Kid Buu. So yeah, Kid Buu is a bit of a meme because of, he still does not have his, elusive LR. He does not have his LR, Dokkan Fest or, Carnival or, Yellow Coin. He still doesn't have it as LR, but he has had multiple Dokkan Fest at this point. Um, you know, for Kid Buu, some of his modern day representations, we could look at the physical Kid Buu, the physical Super Easy A Kid Buu, who is pretty good. I don't think he's as good right now, but when he came out, he was pretty good. I mean, his support is unmatched, honestly. Um, well, maybe except for the Super Gogeta from the 10th anniversary, I think he can probably match it pretty well. But physical Super Easy A Kid Buu was pretty useful, and then Easy A SGR Kid Buu, who is on the right. I mean, when he came out along with the physical Super Saiyan 3 Goku, uh, oh man, I mean, it was just like it was like another level of just like wow, the power creep in this game is really going up. Because he came out alongside the release of that Tech Go Tanks that we just mentioned earlier, the Tech Carnival Go Tanks, and this STR Kid Buu, he was able to just go in there, tank. He had damage reduction, and he can like put up like crazy attack stats. He's getting to like 30 million attack stats, and you know he has a good setup on the uncontrollable power team with the Int Broly. So he already had a good setup, and it just these like teams, they're just feeding into each other, and they're just really allowing to themselves to just perform really really well. The 120% leaders in Dokkan were really fun at the time, and they bring up a lot of fond memories in my opinion, and it's always kind of fun to use them in like Battlefield as leaders. I think if you're doing Battlefield and you just go through it by using like type teams, Super AGL, Extreme AGL, and just kind of going through Battlefield like that, and then maybe using a category team for like maybe one of the weaker missions, like maybe using the Ginyu Force or something for like maybe the first fight, and then maybe using like a really strong team for the last fight if you need it, like a really strong category team or something. But the 120% leaders, they were really fun, you know, additions to the game, and there's like a lot of nostalgia for them. And I think they represent, just an early time in Dokkan. So this will do it for part 1 of this video. Because there are so many units that came out during the 3rd year of Dokkan. So I just stuck to the 120% mono leads for this video. But if you did enjoy this video, please do give it a like and please subscribe.